Hey guys, it's Lumen, and welcome to my 5-minute review on Sin Dragons and Key Heroes. Though I could ramble on for hours about any machine, I figured that it would be easier for players to watch a bite-sized review that covers everything I think is important in 5 minutes or less. With that said, I don't have much time, so let's get right into it. First, a couple notes. All the key heroes received equip forms and various buffs, but the Sin Dragons were largely ignored aside from a few buffs here and there. Thus, I'll be focusing most of my time on the heroes despite their low rolling rates. In the first run, Gileon was probably the most popular card in the event because he made the endgame much more accessible at the time due to his relatively cheap team building requirements. Fast forward to today, and Gileon has fallen off pretty hard despite some exposure as a sub for Sena. In terms of his equip, Gileon's weapon feels like a generally nice augmentation option for fire teams that would have been a lot better had it arrived during the era when the endgame dungeons were Shura 2 and Alt Shura 2. Despite my current pessimistic perception of Gileon, his value will inevitably rise in the near future due to the impending arrival of Rosalind, an immensely powerful leader from the upcoming event known as the Star Weaving Fairies. Next, we have the Blue Penguin Menuit. Though she was the most hated card from the first run of this event, Menuit has become quite the celebrity nowadays mainly because of her equip, which can fit on almost any team due to its generally useful awakenings and its valuable multi-turn all-void active that temporarily neutralizes every type of annoying shield that enemies could put up. Even if Inosuke's equip form exists as a near-identical alternative, Menuit's weapon form will probably be the superior option more often than not because of her unprecedented all-void active being amazing for farming and her team recovery awakenings being situationally better depending on the team. Think of Nautilus and Royal Oak. Do they really want more health or better recovery? As for her transform form, Menuit is still useless, but has seen some use on teams leading Yubo Gore Chaos in Shura 3 for her Fujin effect in her transform active and her automatic column generator in her post-transform active for easy Fua. Moving on, we have the dear Amlynea. Only thing I got to say is to sell her and buy some SDRs. I'm joking, please don't do this. She just feels too restrained by her super long transform active and her typing restriction. The self-sustaining spinners that could be used as a source of indirect orb generation is pretty novel, but Mikage already implements that to a degree and performs much better in terms of endgame content than Amlynea. Her equip form is actually pretty nice as a short inheritable spinner generator that also unlocks and provides extra move time, but the Fat Finger awakenings are marginally useful at best. As a lead, it's slightly problematic when a non-transform card like Cody can provide a similar leader skill, because then you wonder why you're weakening your whole team for an avoidable transform restriction. Next up, we have the Wolf, Ferule. In the first round, Ferule was immensely hyped as a fast lead for clearing Alt Shura 1, and her buffs just make her even better at that, especially with her newfound shield making life a lot easier. However, despite her initial popularity, I've not seen too many other applications of Ferule besides for some farming and the occasional endgame build. Ferule looks to be a pretty strong orb generation option, similar to Grandis, whose value waxes and wanes with the strength of her attribute, Light, in the general meta. Ferule's weapon feels pretty niche because S4 is severely underutilized, but it is only the second equip to have skill boost and combo orb in one package. Tacking on the two Roe awakenings, I can see this equip being useful for Ferule herself, as well as the new key hero, Miya. Moving on to the last original key hero, we have the owl, Euchs. Though he also received some initial hype for his system potential, Euchs never really took off in NA for most players as his health conditional playstyle was pretty annoying to manage while playing through dungeons. The Owl did have a brief moment in the spotlight as a cheese lead for the first Devil title challenge, but otherwise stayed in the shadows. However, Euchs has recently popped back into relevance due to his godly weapon form, which is basically an upgraded version of the already busted equip form of Hera Luna. Adding 2 Dark Rows on top of an active that suicides, generates a row, and voids color and damage absorb shield? Bruh. Last but not least, we have the cat, Miya. To be honest, I didn't know what to make of her at first, mainly because I knew I wasn't going to get her. My initial impression was that she was a shield-heavy monocolor lead geared for the endgame of today, but after a closer look, I slowly realized that Miya is much more flexible in various ways. Granted, her post-transform active does favor a monocolor approach, but Miya's leader skill has no passive attribute lock multipliers, which means that you can run an off-color sub with little penalty. This is extremely convenient when building for a dungeon that requires, let's say, all attributes to be present on the team before transforming. Shura 3. Even as a monocolor lead, Miya's playstyle can vary tremendously based on her damage source. you could potentially utilize L Unlock Awakenings, Rose, and or Takoyaki. Though her survivability leaves something to be desired, Miya can lead a well-built team to victory in Shura 3, something many other leaders can't claim. As for the Sin Dragons, the only one that really piques my interest is Rhamamoa, Sin Dragon agreed, as it is the only other card in the game with 3 dungeon boost awakenings other than Christmas Sailing. Of course, I'm very biased towards this as a dedicated solo imp button farmer, but dungeon boosts are few and far between, so Rhamamoa really sticks out to me. Honorable mention to Pride for its ranking value, and to Wrath as just a generally good sub for Dark. And that's my take on Sin Dragons and Key Heroes in 5 minutes or less. See you in the next event, and as always, good luck and have fun.